The story begins inside a huge mansion where a terrible auction is taking place. Young girls are being sold to rich, old, and disgusting men, and not for small amounts, but for millions of dollars. These men look like walking disasters, dirty, creepy, and totally heartless. But sadly in this world, money is everything. In one corner, a little girl with black hair is crying quietly. She can't understand why God sent her into such a cruel world. Just then, a beautiful girl with shiny silver hair named Dia comes to comfort her. Dia gently says, "Don't cry. You must always look pretty, no matter what." After saying this, Dia gets ready to go on stage. With a soft smile on her face, she walks gracefully toward the auction stage. The announcer proudly introduces her as today's special item. The bidding starts at $10 million. All the men go wild for her. Everyone wants a silver-haired girl in their home. But Dia only smiles, because she has a plan. Using her magic, she secretly turns her handcuffs into a key, unlocks them, and then transforms the key into a rifle. Without wasting a second, she starts firing bullets everywhere. The entire hall turns into chaos. People scream and run in panic. Guards rush in, trying to stop her. Meanwhile, in the dressing room, the other girls panic. They don't understand what's happening outside. Just then, a guard enters. But one of the girls, named Tat, who is pretending to be a maid, grabs a bottle and smashes it over his head. The guard falls unconscious on the floor. As soon as Tat turns around, she sees two more guards running toward her with knives. She gets serious, uses her magic powers, and defeats them both in her own unique style. Then she quickly takes the keys from their belts, throws them to the other girls, and yells, "Run! Get out of here!" After that, Tat herself runs toward the main hall. Dia is still shooting everyone around her, but suddenly she spots the woman who started all this, the same evil lady who kidnapped and sold these girls from their villages. Dia aims her rifle at her, ready to shoot, but suddenly a guard attacks her with magic strikes. Dia blocks the attack with her rifle, but falls to the ground. She realizes this guard is also a magic user. Tat rushes back and uses her spinner weapon to protect Dia. Soon, more guards show up, and Tat grabs a revolver to fight them off one by one. Both of them stand ready with their weapons on stage, but the number of guards keeps increasing. So Dia decides they'll need to use a large-scale magic attack. She tells Tat, "You cover me. I'll start the spell." Tat begins firing non-stop, holding off the guards, while Dia chants her spell. Moments later, boom! Dia releases a powerful explosion that blows apart the mansion wall, creating a huge path to escape. Outside the mansion, near the edge of the forest, a sniper is watching everything through his scope. He confirms that the woman in the mansion, the one running away, is the same mistress who burned villages and sold the girls. He whispers, "Target confirmed," and activates his magic eye, a power that lets him see through walls. He watches her run from room to room, desperately trying to escape, but her time is over. He pulls the trigger, a clean headshot. In 1 second, her story ends right there. That moment reminds the sniper of his past life, back when he was one of the top assassins on Earth. His mission back then was to eliminate a drug mafia. His aim was so perfect that even enemies hiding behind cars couldn't survive. After he took down his 6th target, he calmly said, "Mission complete." His trainee asked, "Sir, shouldn't we take out the others too?" But the man replied, "I was ordered to kill only 6. Mission complete means mission complete." The girl laughed, but he explained, "The organization only wants to replace the top members. Unnecessary killing is forbidden." They both got into their car, ready to leave, but suddenly he noticed a drone in the sky. His instincts kicked in instantly. "We've been found," he said, speeding up the car. Moments later, soldiers started chasing them and firing bullets. Their car exploded, but at the last second, he jumped out and survived. He wrapped a bandage around his injured leg from training and said, "We'll leave in the morning." That night, the girl asked softly, "Why did you become like this?" Lug replied, "I was born for the organization. I was never allowed to have emotions." Then he decided to teach her a shocking lesson. He suddenly pointed his gun at her head. The girl froze in fear. She was a top assassin too, but Lug was always 2 steps ahead. He smirked, took her pistol, and said, "You should never trust anyone. That's your biggest mistake." The girl was too stunned to react. Then Lug handed her gun back. She quickly aimed it at him, but Lug calmly said, "I already removed the bullets." Hearing this, The girl was even more shocked and felt completely helpless. The next morning, they both reached their safe house. Lug contacted the organization and informed them the mission was complete. Their boss confirmed it and ordered them to return to Japan. Lug prepared fake passports for himself and his trainee. They boarded a flight home. While sitting in the plane, Lug stared out the window, wondering, "What will I even do with my life now?" Suddenly, the plane started shaking, and an announcement came over the speakers. "This is a hijacking!" Lug immediately ran toward the cockpit. He pushed the flight attendant aside and burst in. Both pilots were already dead, and the controls were destroyed. In that instant, Lug realized the organization had betrayed him. Moments later, fighter jets appeared outside the plane windows. Before he could react, they shot the plane down. Lug died in the explosion, but the only thing in his heart was betrayal. Then he opened his eyes again. In a bright white space, standing before a beautiful goddess with silver hair. The goddess smiled and said, "You taught others not to trust anyone, but look at yourself now." Lug was confused and asked, "Who are you? What do you want from me?" The goddess replied, "I am the goddess of death. You have two choices. Return to Earth with no memories, or go to a fantasy world and keep your memories. But in that world, you'll have a special mission." Lug listened carefully. She continued, "In that world, there is a hero. Right now, he's good. But one day, after defeating all the demon kings, he'll become too powerful and turn into a demon king himself. I can't allow that future to happen." Lug agreed, but said, "Then give me the best weapons and skills. I'll need them." The goddess nodded. "You will receive the strongest abilities possible for a human, and you may choose 5 special skills for yourself." Lug was then reborn into a family of assassins. His mother, a kind and beautiful woman, was named Ezri, and his father, a legendary master assassin, was Kian. Years passed, and Lug grew into a talented young boy. Every morning, he went hunting in the forest. He believed, if the prey doesn't even realize it's going to die, that's when the meat tastes the best. He hunted a rabbit, brought it home, and told his mom, "I'll cook this myself today." His mother laughed, "I never get a chance to cook anymore." Lug smiled and said, "Then get ready to taste something amazing." He chopped the rabbit, added herbs and mushrooms, and cooked it in a pressure cooker. Then he made a creamy sauce, remembering how he once pretended to be a master chef just to get close to a target. When the dish was ready, the whole family enjoyed it. His mother said, "You could sell this in a restaurant." That evening, his father called him into the training room for his weekly checkup. Just like always, Kian carefully checked his bones, muscles, and reflexes. That's when we learned the family's secret. They weren't just noble assassins. They were also royal doctors serving the kingdom. But the truth was darker. They used their doctor status to get close to their targets, and then kill them quietly. Lug's father was a strict teacher. He trained Lug in healing techniques, assassination skills, hand-to-hand combat, and mastery over every type of weapon. This was perfect for Lug, because one day, he had to kill the hero. And now, he didn't have to hide his training anymore. After finishing the checkup, Kian said, "All right, get dressed. Your recovery looks great. You're ready for the surgery." Lug's excitement shot through the roof. This was no ordinary surgery. It was a secret ritual passed down through generations. His father and ancestors had all undergone it. The surgery would turn his eyes into deadly weapons. Afterward, Lug could see mana, glowing blue light energy, and view distant objects with perfect clarity. Everyone had been waiting for this moment, and without a second thought, Lug agreed to the surgery. For a few days afterward, he had to wear a blindfold, but when he finally took it off, his entire world changed. Everything looked brighter, more alive. When he looked at his father, he could actually see the flow of mana inside him and the mana radiating from his own body. His father smiled and said, "We've also found a magic teacher for you." For Lug, it was the happiest day of his life. Ever since he arrived in this world, he'd been dying to learn magic. When his teacher finally arrived, his mother dressed him up in a cross outfit, making him look like a cute little girl. Everyone expected the teacher to be some creepy old man, but when the door opened, a beautiful silver-haired girl named Dia appeared instead. Lug was stunned, like he couldn't believe this was the teacher. Dia noticed his expression and said, "Oh, you doubt my abilities?" To prove herself, she cast a massive explosion spell that shook the entire area, leaving Lug completely shocked. The next day, Lug officially introduced himself, but Dia said, No need to be so formal. I'm only 3 years older than you. Then she pulled out a crystal ball that could store mana and told him, pour all your mana into this. Luke did exactly as she said. Impressed, Dia smiled and said, you've got great mana capacity, but this is just the beginning. After training, Luke increased his mana capacity 1,000 times. He poured so much mana into the crystal ball that it started to crack. Panicking, Dia shouted, throw it away, now! Luke quickly tossed it into the air, and within seconds, there was a massive explosion that shook the entire mansion. Dia stood frozen in shock, wondering what kind of monster this boy was. His parents rushed in and asked, what happened here? Dia tried to cover it up, saying, it was my fault. I should have been more careful. But instead of getting angry, Luke's parents were actually happy. His father said, good spell, but more suited for war. Teach him something else, and walked away casually. Later, Luke asked, do we have more crystal balls like that? Dia replied, no way. Those are extremely rare and not given to just anyone. That night, Luke thought to himself, I need more of those balls. They'll help me kill the hero. Just then, Dia knocked on his door. Moments later, they were sharing the same bed. She said softly, I'm your teacher. I can order you to do anything. Luke thought, it's better to play along than argue. The next day, Dia checked Luke's attributes and asked him to release a bit of mana. She discovered he had both fire and water attributes. Dual elements are rare, she said, but Luke insisted she check again. And when she did, it turned out he had all 4 basic elements. Dia was beyond shocked. Now she began teaching him how to convert mana into elements. The first was earth, and for that she trained him physically, hands-on. Under her careful guidance, Luke successfully transformed his mana into the earth element. Suddenly, a spell flashed through his mind. Dia said it was sent by the gods, his first unlocked spell. Luke couldn't understand the divine language, so Dia explained it to him. He copied it and mastered it on his very first try. Impressed, Dia told him, the more you practice, the more new spells the gods will send to your mind. But Luke replied, you write a spell yourself. I'll try casting it without divine help. Curious, Dia wrote an iron creation spell, and to her shock, Luke cast it flawlessly without any divine aid. Dia was speechless. She had never imagined such a thing was even possible. They started experimenting together. Luke realized that each spell was actually linked to real physics formulas, things like melting points, density, and energy equations. Dia couldn't fully grasp it, but Luke decided to try creating a gold spell. Dia attempted it first, but failed. When Luke tried, he successfully created a gold brick and explained to her that anything was possible if you understood the logic behind magic. Over time, because of Luke's growing spell power and skills, Dia began inventing new types of spells with him, and their bond grew even deeper. Luke even crafted a real pistol that shot tungsten bullets, and though Dia managed to handle it, Luke wasn't satisfied. So he took things further, building a cannon capable of blasting targets from miles away. One night, Dia clung to Luke and whispered, I have to go home tomorrow. I wish I could stay with you forever. Luke gave her a small titanium alloy knife and said, remember me, Dia. She gifted him a rare crystal ball and made him pinky promise, come to me when I call for you. Luke promised he would. The next day, Dia left. After she was gone, Luke's father said, now you're ready to understand our family's true business. He took Luke to a prison full of criminals, murderers, thieves, and traitors, and said, these people are used as training dummies. We do this so you'll never hesitate to kill. Luke asked, why didn't you train me to be an emotionless killer? His father replied, because we're not tools, we're humans. We only kill when it benefits the kingdom. We make our own judgments. This confused Luke because on Earth, he had learned that following orders was everything. Then his father took him to another room and said, today will be your first kill. A girl was chained inside. She had committed theft, robbery, and murder. She cried, please forgive me, it was an accident. But Luke could tell she was lying. He drew his knife and slit her wrist, letting her die slowly and painlessly. Before dying, she cursed him, and annoyed, Luke struck her head, ending her life instantly. Months later, Luke attended the Harvest Festival with his parents, but he wasn't there to celebrate. He was searching for someone with mana, someone who could become his assistant. He found an old man who had some mana but thought, what use is an old man to me? When he couldn't find anyone else, he decided to wait. One cold winter day while hunting, Luke noticed a pack of wolves surrounding something. When he got closer, he saw they were about to attack a young girl. Without hesitation, he shot one wolf in the head and landed like a superhero in front of her. Within seconds, he killed the entire pack. He walked up to her and asked, "Who are you?" Terrified, the girl said, "My family was poor. They kicked me out because there wasn't enough food. I tried to cross your noble territory hoping for help, but the wolves found me." Luke cooked something for her and said, "Eat slowly." While she ate, he examined the wolves. When he returned, the girl said, "You're the noble's son, right? This must be a divine sign. Last night I dreamt I'd meet someone special." Luke smiled and said, "Come with me. You'll never go hungry again." The girl burst into tears. "Are you serious?" "Yes," Luke said, "but on one condition. I'm an assassin. I have to kill people. If you can help me, you can stay with me." The girl nodded eagerly. "I'm ready." She took his hand and said, "My name is Tat." Luke welcomed her warmly, secretly pleased because Tat had mana. He'd planned it all along. Show his strength, earn her trust, reveal his secrets. A perfect psychological manipulation strategy. He wanted Tat to choose to join him, so she'd never betray him. 2 years later, Tat had become his loyal assistant, helping with missions and becoming an excellent assassin herself. She was especially skilled at operating speaker devices for communication. Luke knew that ideal assassins shouldn't have attachments. They're hard to hide. But he still wanted Tat to become even stronger. One night, Tat was secretly training with knives in the underground room when Luke caught her. She immediately apologized, saying she just wanted to be more useful. Luke told her to wait. She panicked, thinking he would kick her out like her family did. But instead, Luke created a foldable spinner knife with his magic and handed it to her, saying, "Use this." When Tat practiced using her Fortnite-style training routine, she completely blew up the practice dummies. So fast and focused that even Luke was impressed. A few weeks later, Luke and Tat went to the marketplace. The townspeople there were very grateful to Luke. He helped them by suggesting new types of fertilizer and even used his mana to provide water during the dry season. In return, the locals gifted him their best produce. When Luke came back home, his carriage was packed full of goods, so much that he thought, "How am I ever going to finish all this food before it goes bad?" Tat smiled and said she admired how hard he worked for his people. Luke replied, "That's my duty. Protecting them from monsters and bandits isn't enough. Solving their everyday problems is how you truly earn their hearts." Tat was deeply impressed, especially since the noble from her hometown was a greedy woman who never cared for her people. That night, Luke secretly stored away a few magic crystal balls in his inventory. He had already analyzed the one Dia left behind and figured out how to replicate it. Now, he had thousands of crystal balls, each filled with mana, ready to be used as emergency weapons. Just then, Tat entered and said, "Your father wants to see you in the training room." When Luke arrived, his father Cian immediately began asking questions about Tat. Luke explained that she was capable of handling small missions on her own. But what really interested him was why his father seemed suspicious. Cian wanted to confirm whether Tat was possibly a spy from another noble family, sent to steal their magic techniques. Luke calmly said he had been observing her closely, and her body language proved she wasn't lying. Cian was pleased to hear that. If Tat had been a spy, they would have had to kill her. But since she was a mana user, she was too valuable to lose. Cian smiled slightly and said, "Maybe it's fate that brought you two together." Then he told Luke the real reason he had called him. There was going to be a special test. If Luke passed it, and one more test after, he would graduate from his lessons and become a fully fledged assassin. Luke happily agreed. The test turned out to be a father-son combat exercise. Basically, they were dropped into a forest and the rule was simple: find and defeat each other. Luke quickly realized that whoever found the opponent first had the advantage. But on the first attempt, he failed. Cian spotted him first and fired arrows his way. Luke dodged and scanned his surroundings. After a bit of tracking, he finally found his father and threw a knife, but Cian blocked it easily. Luke charged forward for a close attack, but Cian countered, injuring Luke's leg. Somehow, Luke managed to escape and used healing magic to fix his wound. As he caught his breath, Luke thought, "I'm faster and stronger now, and I have real-world experience from Earth, but Father's instincts are still sharper." Cian, meanwhile, had become so attuned to movement and aura that he could sense even the slightest change in blood flow around him. Luke focused deeply and triggered a trap, but Cian avoided it perfectly. Then Luke realized it was a distraction. The real attack came from another angle. A knife grazed Cian's side, and in that moment, he vanished into the forest. Determined, Luke decided to rely more on prediction than instinct. He stood quietly beside a tree, sensing the environment. Suddenly, he detected 2 blood pressure surges, one to the right. A knife flew toward him. He dodged. Another came from the left. This time, Luke expected it. He blocked it with precision. Right then, Cian appeared behind him and stabbed Luke's shoulder, but Luke instantly turned and held his blade against his father's throat. Cian froze, then smiled. "You've won." Later, Luke bandaged his wound. Cian, though slightly frustrated, was also proud. How could his son, still not even through puberty, have defeated him? But that frustration soon turned into joy. It meant their family's future was strong. Cian admitted that he had intentionally not used magic, because if he had, the test would have been meaningless. He told Luke, "There's nothing more I can teach you. You're ready now. You just need real experience to grow." After that day, Cian began taking Luke on field trips, where they tracked and executed corrupt and evil nobles. Their secret job wasn't just to take lives. They also saved many. Cian was often called by other nobles as a doctor, since he was the best healer in the kingdom. He always brought Luke along to show him how nobles maintained their security, both magical and physical. One day, after returning from a patient's house, Cian told Luke about his final training, last exercise, and the ultimate test. Cian explained, "Sometimes assassins don't sneak in through the back door. Sometimes they come right through the front gate, in disguise. They win their target's trust, and then they strike." Luke already knew about this kind of technique, so he joked, "Should I pretend to be a chef instead? I'm pretty good at cooking too." But Cian smiled and said, "No, this time you'll play the role of a merchant. Nobles usually drop their guard when a trader brings them rare treasures." To make everything believable, Cian had already prepared a perfect fake identity for Luke. Elite Banner, the son of a wealthy trading family. The Banner family owed Cian a big favor, so they agreed to help. Before Luke left for his final mission, Cian threw him a small farewell party. Every branch of their family, most of whom worked in trading, came to see him off. Everyone praised Luke for being a genius. But there was one man who didn't like it, a drunken man named Reina. In his anger, Reina threw an empty wine glass at Luke, but Luke easily caught it midair. Reina's father tried to stop him, but Reina shouted, "I'll never accept this kid as our successor. My big brother died, and now you want to make this weak child our heir? That's unfair." Cian calmly said, "Let's settle this with a fight. Whoever wins will prove who's stronger." The match started immediately. Reina wasn't even ready before Luke appeared behind him like a flash. As a warning, Luke grazed Reina's throat lightly with his knife, just enough to draw a thin line of blood. Cian raised his hand and said, "Fight's over." Luke stepped back, but the drunk man didn't stop. He charged again. Luke dodged, slammed him to the ground, and broke his arm in one clean move. Cian used this moment to make a point. He told everyone, "These are assassin techniques. No one here can fight better than Luke." While everyone was shocked, Luke was thinking deeply. That night, he secretly called Reina to meet him in the garden. There, Reina finally realized he had overreacted. He said quietly, "I'm just frustrated that I lost to a kid. I wanted to be the strongest in my branch family." Luke nodded and replied, "My father, who was once known as the strongest assassin in the family, was also defeated by someone about 30 years ago." Reina's eyes widened. He had heard the rumors but never believed them. So it was true. Luke had once defeated Cian. Luke then made him an offer. Reina was skilled, confident, and smart. Luke wanted him to be his right-hand man. Reina, still a bit proud but wise enough, accepted the offer. The next morning, Luke set out on his journey for his merchant training. Dia traveled with him. After a few days, they reached Mailtown, a busy merchant city. There, Luke changed his appearance. He dyed his hair and fully became Belar, the merchant's son. In the same town, there lived a girl with blue hair named Meha. She ran a small but successful business. Her late father had been a merchant too, and she'd learned the basics from him. Now she led a group that helped visitors tour the city and live comfortably. Her dream was simple, to earn enough money to buy a big house where all her friends could live happily together. But one day, a group of thugs showed up at her base. They openly announced that they were going to kidnap her and her friends. Meha used her magic to attack and told everyone to run, but some of the kids were caught. 2 of her close friends were also captured. The thugs took them to an old orphanage outside the city, run by a cruel man named Torin. He told them, "From now on, you all belong here. You'll do what I say." When one brave boy shouted back, "We don't need your help. We can survive on our own," Torin punched him in the face. He warned, "Anyone who disobeys me will be punished." Then he locked all the kids in one room, where Meha's 2 captured friends were already waiting. Everyone sat there, confused and scared. Why would someone kidnap us just to send us to an orphanage? They wondered. One girl whispered, "The Lord's wife runs a charity and funds this place. Torin probably plans to make quick cash by using us for fake donations." Just then, one of the thugs tossed a bag of vegetables into the room and said, "Here's your food for the whole week." Everyone felt hopeless, except Meha. She stood up and said, "Come on, everyone, let's start cooking." The kids looked at her, terrified. They had wanted a home, but not like this. All of this had happened years ago. Now, everyone had grown older. The kids who once lived freely were now treated like servants inside that orphanage. They were forced to make clothes to be sold in the market. If anyone failed to work fast enough, the thugs beat them brutally. Their gang leader warned his men, "Be gentle. I need them in perfect shape for our next business." The business he was talking about was selling the girls. One poor girl became so hopeless that she destroyed her own face, just so no one would want to buy her. Years later, Meha had also grown up. One day, she overheard Torin talking to one of his men. He said, "Now that Meha's old enough, she'll have her own customers soon." Hearing this made Meha's heart freeze. Her memories came flooding back. What happened to her friends? The fear, the pain. She panicked, ran to a mirror, and tried to cut her own face, hoping that if she looked ugly, no one would buy her either. But just in time, Luke arrived and stopped her. Soon all the girls were lined up in front of Torin. He proudly introduced them to Luke. "This is the son of Bellor Trading Company," he said, smiling greedily. "He wants to hire one of these girls as his personal assistant." All the girls were filled with hope, except the one with scars on her face. She thought her chance was gone forever. But Luke looked directly at her, at Meha, and said, "I'm only interested in this one. Would you like to work with me?" Meha hesitated. Her heart told her it wouldn't be fair to leave her friends behind. But Luke's calm voice somehow gave her courage. She nodded. Torin said smoothly, "She'll need a few days to prepare. You can pick her up in 3 days." Meha's panic returned. She knew what that really meant. Torin planned to sell her first and do something horrible before Luke came back. But she was too scared to speak out. Luke pretended to agree but warned Torin, "From the moment I paid for her, she's part of my family. Don't touch her." That night, Torin got Meha ready for her first customer. In the dark garage, he smirked and said, "If this girl had been a little older, I could have made even more money off her." Meha trembled, but then she thought about Luke, the one person who had treated her kindly. She decided she would never let anyone take her dignity away. Her anger awakened her hidden magic. A bright spark flared in her hands. She shoved Torin away and escaped from the carriage into the forest. Torin's men chased after her. Their leader, who also knew how to use mana, caught up and grabbed her roughly. He laughed cruelly. "This might be my first time enjoying this job," he said. But before he could do anything, Luke appeared. In one swift move, he threw the man across the clearing like a rag doll. "Come with me now," he told Meha firmly. Torin came running after them, shouting, "You can't take that girl! You'll put your family in danger!" He ordered his men to attack. One thug charged, but Luke twisted his arm until it broke. Torin himself attacked next, and Luke defeated him easily too. But instead of killing them, Luke tied them up. "You'll answer to the law," he said coldly. He then disguised himself as one of Torin's associates and went to the nearby Lord's mansion, where he convinced the guards to arrest Torin and his entire gang. The next morning, all of them were captured. The kidnapped girls were finally free to live normal lives again. As a final favor, Luke used his healing magic to restore the scarred girl's face, so Meha's friend could start a new life too. Afterward, Meha decided to travel with Luke. A few days later, Luke met Mr. Bell, the real head of the Bellor family. He performed a small surgery on Mr. Bell's son to fix a hidden illness, and told him to keep it a secret. Mr. Bell was deeply grateful and asked, "How can we ever repay you? A good merchant never accepts free help." Luke simply said, "If one day I'm ever in trouble because of my profession, I just want a safe place for my family to hide. Mr. Bell smiled warmly. Then he remembered something. The adoption papers for Meha had already been completed. She was now officially part of their family. Later, Mr. Bell showed Luke an old store layout. This was supposed to be my shop, he said. It failed years ago. But I believe in you. I want you to run it. Luke accepted happily. He told Meha about it later. We'll use this shop as our cover, he said. We'll sell luxury cosmetics and sweets to attract noblewomen. That way we can gain their trust and gather information. Mr. Bell's wife, who never liked Luke, warned him, the market's already full. Branding matters more than product quality. Luke smiled. Then I'll create something completely new, something this city has never seen before. A few days later, Lou visits his fake stepmother and explains something new to her. He tells her that removing makeup can actually strip away the skin's natural oils and moisture, which damages it in the long run. Hearing this, his stepmom becomes very curious. So Lou presents a small bottle and introduces it as the world's first moisturizer. He explains that it helps reduce the damage caused by makeup. His stepmom and her friends immediately apply it, and after feeling the difference, they remove their beauty masks, revealing their old, wrinkled faces. They laugh and say, if this moisturizer had existed earlier, our skin would have looked much better. They're super impressed and even decide to officially accept Lou as their son. Her husband also gets excited and says he'll share this product with his noble friends before the big market launch, so the brand will have a strong base. He asks Lou, how many bottles can you make in a week? Lou replies, around 200 per week. He also advises, don't rush into hiring more workers yet. If too many people get involved, the formula might leak. It's better to grow slowly and carefully. Belloro agrees with his logic and says, all right, let's start. Lou then explains that one of the key ingredients only grows in his family's assassin territory, so he plans to build the main factory there. This way, the secret formula will stay safe. Belloro agrees, and Lou finally returns home for the first time in months. A month later, Lou's cosmetic shop becomes the hottest trend in the kingdom. Meha manages the shop along with one of her old orphanage friends. Lou's fame spreads everywhere. Even the nobles know his name now, and he can easily visit their homes for missions. Tata, one of Lou's close allies, is very impressed, not just by his success, but also because he gave Meha's friend a job. Lou casually says, it was just a business decision, but Tata believes it's because he has a kind heart. One day, Lou asks Tata about factory security. She says spies have tried everything, even bribing employees, but none have succeeded so far. Lou knows that desperate competitors might soon make a big move. That same night, he senses someone sneaking near his room. It's a spy trying to kidnap him and steal the moisturizer formula. Lou and Meha stay on high alert and capture the intruder. They interrogate him harshly, but he refuses to speak and dies instead. Lou doesn't panic. Instead, he takes his monthly day off and goes to visit Dia. When he arrives, he brings chocolate cookies as a gift. Dia happily tells him she's been working on new spells and even created an anti-gravity spell. Lou is shocked because he thought he would be the first to invent something like that. The two of them enjoy a cozy tea party, practice a few spells together, and have fun. Later that night, Lou returns to his mansion. Time passes. Lou starts sending Tata to the battlefield as a mercenary to help her gain experience, while Meha continues managing and expanding the business to become a skilled merchant. Lou attends royal parties, makes connections with nobles, and builds relationships that could help him with future missions. 2 years go by. Lou has been part of the Bell family for a long time now, but it's time for him to go back home. Before leaving, he decides to leave Meha in the city to run the store on her own. Meha confidently presents her business expansion plan to Lou, but when he sees the first location she picked, he's shocked. It's the exact same place where her father's old company once stood. Her father had been betrayed and killed by his business partner there, and that's also where Meha first escaped from danger years ago. Lou understands her intention. Meha wants to reclaim her father's legacy and rebuild his company, starting with this store. Lou tells her, I trust you completely. Do it your way. Just make sure the work is done properly. Meha feels deeply happy hearing that. Soon after, her friends enter the room and hand Lou a farewell gift. They thank him, saying, you saved us from hell and gave us a chance to live a real life. Lou accepts the gift and says warmly, I'll never forget any of you. After that, he returns to his normal appearance and gets ready to travel home. Before leaving, Meha promises she'll work hard and grow the business. She tells Lou, "Please visit sometimes. I'll feel really lonely without you." Lou smiles and promises, "I will. I'll come back whenever I can between missions." As he walks toward the carriage, Lou notices Tata standing nearby, looking sad. She'll miss Meha too. But suddenly Lou senses something, a strong mana signal nearby. Someone or something is approaching.